Welcome to Betty on the Go. I'm your host, Betty Gudel. You can watch us at www.xeayz.tv, and our show will be posted on YouTube. You can tweet me at Betty Gudel, like us on Facebook and Knoxstrom Digital Media, or you can send me an email if you have any questions, guests that you'd like to be seen at bettyg@knoxstrom.com. Today we have a special guest coming up, Caroline Postma for Ward 3. Welcome, Caroline.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Obviously, the election's coming up, and she's going to entice us with everything she's going to be doing for Ward 3. And it's not like you're just starting. You've been doing things all along.
Absolutely.
Justice Fournier from Just Training, we've had him on quite a bit, and he's a big advocate of helping communities around. And Mike Thomas with the Convergence Report, because you just love politics. Right?
Yeah, political junkie. That's who I am. Yes, that's who I am.
So, Caroline, you must be so busy and.
I have been busy, actually. It's a lot of work campaigning, and a lot of people don't realize that. Yeah. Tomorrow's the deadline. Our plan has always been to get messages out to people face to face, and my whole campaign is based on person to person, face to face, and my ability to be able to connect you to city services, to businesses, to business improvement associations, in order to get things done and problem solve, because I'm really good at it.
Oh, great. And you have Ward 3 is huge. It covers quite a bit. And it's the downtown area, which needs, I think, most of the improvement, most job creation.
Because if your core is not thriving and it's not good, the rest of your city will follow. I've lived in the core area for 20 years, heavily invested here, and I love it here. You know, I love that I can walk to the bank. I love that I can walk to anywhere downtown.
Exactly. Great walking trails. You've got the waterfront.
Absolutely.
And you've got Justice, who trains all over Windsor, right?
Keeps me healthy. Yes.
I've been helping her with her campaign, actually. It's people don't realize that are not heavily involved in politics. We talked about on the one show with John, how much door knocking. It's not a joke to take 1,000 flyers to 1,000 sets of steps with 1,000 driveways.
I've seen you with your running shoes on.
Yes.
It's not. They match her teal shirt. It's nice.
And coincidence.
And what is the response? Like I'm going to say I've done canvassing in the past, and I saw there was a change. How are people being? Are they being receptive? Being private with their decision, what they're talking, what's happening?
I find the majority of people seem happy to see me. And the most question that I'm asked is, where did you go?
Good for you.
And it's, why are you coming back, Caroline? And they're smiling when they see me. I've yet to run into someone with a grumpy face.
Okay.
So they're very receptive. But I find most people like to keep their vote private. I have, as you can see, driving through Ward 3, I have yet to ask for many sign locations, because for me, I wanted to do an introductory piece of literature. The second piece of literature is coming out next week, and that's where I'm going to be really knocking on doors and really going after the vote. That second piece is very important, and that's when I'll be a little more aggressive in asking for sign locations. Right now, though, I'm not interested in a sign. I'm interested in your vote and your confidence.
Okay. And Betty had brought it up about the size of the ward. Like how, I'm going to say, like to do one spin through, is that a week? Is that a week of your time, or it takes longer than that?
Way more than that.
Way more than that.
You have to get sign locations.
So it's non-stop.
It's absolutely
non-stop.
So if we put a sign on your lawn today and it breaks from the wind, you have to make sure that you give us a call to come fix the sign or replace it, or etc. So it's a constant battle. So a lot of people that put them signs early, right? They have too much battling with signs. So most people that are focusing on signs are not focusing on voters. The thing that I like about Caroline and why I got so behind her in this is she actually comes into the community with me, and we go as advocates. We roll our sleeves up. We went into the community garden, and we're actually physically building that. 10 Friends Diner and Canadian Mental Health. We go into Stag, and she comes and trains with us, helps the kids, helps mentor, helps do what she can to help anybody she can. And to me, if I don't want a politician, I don't want a lawyer, I don't even want a business person as much as, and not saying that she can't lawyer a deal, because she's very, very good with her words, and not to mention that
Yes.
she's good with that. But what I get behind is the actual advocacy, right? Mm-hmm. She's somebody who I have a problem, and I'm like, well, Caroline, I don't know how to deal with a doctor or a government aficionado. I don't know how to deal with this. It's not my language. She goes, okay, let me just break it down for you. Here's how you're going to do it. Here's who you're going to see. She'll bring me to the doctors. I don't know any city councilor like, so will physically come to my house, bring me to the doctors, make sure that I'm healthy. If you're not just in her ward, if you're just in her sphere of influence, Caroline's going to take as much time as she can to help you. And that's what I go to the doors with her, and I put on my Caroline Postma shirt on, and I'm like her bodyguard, right? When I go to the doors, except I speak well enough where I get a chance to actually talk to a lot of the people like you're asking at the door. I talk to them at the door, and what they say is, "Oh, you mean Caroline Postma, who is already a city councilor and already did really well?" So it's not like she's done this, she's not looking for a new job. She's looking to be in a position that she does best. If I want to walk into a building, I should be the trainer. That's kind of what I do. Mm-hmm. She should be the person who advocates for our city, because that's kind of what she does. Right?
And it's what a lot of people don't realize is the time that it actually takes to do the job and do it well. They don't understand the budget process, which is very extensive. I was a part of the council that started the zero-based budgeting. I used to sit in a room with my colleagues and go through budgets line by line, cutting things like paper, photocopying, office supplies, to staff. I've been there, I've done that, and I understand the budgets intimately. I understand the processes intimately. And when I was on city council, I did a lot of advocacy work at other levels for residents, such as holding someone's hand at ODSP, going with someone to Children's Aid, and just letting them know they had a friendly face and someone to hold their hand and say, take a deep breath, calm down, and then tell your story. I'm coming back because I missed it. I miss that advocacy.
And you probably have all these great new ideas now that you've been away for so long.
Well, for sure.
You sat back and thought, wow, I can do this.
Yeah, and I run a business improvement association for Wyandotte Town Center, and the one thing that I really noticed was when you hold that title, you get answers like this from staff, whereas when you don't hold the title, it takes you 2 days to a week sometimes to get an answer. Is that fair? Not necessarily, but I'm the kind of counselor that will sit across the table from you, get you the answer that you're looking for, solve the problem in your neighborhood with you right away, and then we move on to bigger and better things together.
Very good. Okay.
I miss that. I miss being able to help someone at the push of a button. Instead, it takes me a little bit longer.
And you're out there with all the residents, so you're not just assuming that they have these problems, you're actually listening to them. And
that's right. And for me, I didn't want to have a campaign that told you what you needed for your neighborhood. I wanted to come in and say, if you need anything done, from an alley having to be dug up and graded and paved, to lighting, to dirty yard complaints, to rodents, skunks, possums, feral cats, to maybe you didn't know about the Affordable Bus Pass program, which I helped create, very proud of that, to any problem in your neighborhood. I can come in and I can solve it with you right away because I've been there, I've done that. I still do it. I still do it in my neighborhood. And holding the title actually gives me that ability and that power, I hate to say it that way, but it's true, to get it done for you in a very efficient, effective manner. For me, there's absolutely no learning curve. I just hit the ground running.
Okay.
So,
okay, I get that. Okay.
Yeah, it's exciting for me to come back.
There's no learning curve for her, maybe, but for every one of us around her to understand how to support her. It is nice to have Postma on your speed dial, though, because it gets things done very, very quickly. Caroline, do you have this person on your phone list? Of course I do. I dealt with them, ... And she has a whole story how she dealt with that person, because her Rolodex is just very impressive. And I don't know another candidate that could even argue that. They don't have that Rolodex. They don't have those personal relationships. They would hope they did, but they don't. Right? So to me, I'm going for the person who actually already can go to those people, already has a rapport with them, can get things done. want. I'm a small business owner. I can go, Caroline, who do I go to get a relief on rent downtown? Who exactly? I know I've heard about this through the grapevine, but what's the actual law? Well, justice, and she gives me the whole spiel. And by the end of the conversation, I'm like, I'm de-stressed. I have answers. To me, that's what a city councilor is supposed to do. I'm not supposed to get like, well, next 4 years, I'm going to. I don't need a pulpit. I don't need you to, express to me what you think you're going to do. Exactly what do I do to solve this problem? Because that's what your job is. It's your whole job.
So what are some of the things you see lacking in the ward going forward? Some of the challenges
I think some of our biggest challenges, to be quite honest, are connecting with City Hall. Because I'll give you an example. When I was on City Council, certain properties always got taken care of. The grass got cut. The ditches got cleaned. Because administration knew I was going to be calling, emailing, taking photos, and not stopping until it got done. And in 4 years, some of that grass has been overgrown. The ditches have not been cleaned, and certain properties were not taken care of as much as I would have had administration take care of it. So I think just connecting people in general to City Hall is something that's lacking. And something else that's lacking for our downtown, I hate to say it, but I really think we need to rethink how we look at downtown. We need to embrace who we are, and we also need to make sure that everybody knows. Yeah, we have a bakery coming, but it would be really nice to have a fresh produce market all year round.
All year round, yes.
It would be great to have a butcher. I would love to walk with my kids to the market and to a butcher.
And have a community where you can
For
have
sure.
Fresh food?
Fresh food would be amazing.
Hard to find.
Farm fresh eggs would be awesome. We need to take a look at how do we really attract those businesses.
Well, there's other communities that are making, I'm not going to say communities, I'm going to say Toronto's not a community. Toronto's a
I was thinking the same thing when you said that.
But when it's on with the neighborhood communities that they're developing now, and I was actually shocked, I did kind of story on this a couple years ago, but I was kind of shocked, and it's coming together. And they're embracing that.
Yes.
The walking part of it, like getting away from the autos and the vehicles, and then once you establish that part of it, it's a healthy community.
It is.
Now you need to have the other part of it. Okay, the produce, the grocery
You
store, the
also
hardware
need the
store.
infrastructure as well, though,
Yes.
in order to support that. So we need to really take a hard look at transit. We need to take a look at our east-west routes and support it.
Our youth centers?
Our youth centers as well, but
Yes, absolutely.
transit is huge, Justice. We need to start reinvesting in our transit system, more than what we are. When I was chair of Transit Windsor back 4 years ago, we took a look at upgrading our system to the point where people could get back and forth to work, out in Oldcastle even.
Yes.
We took a look at increasing the buses east to west and north to south. And it was a pretty penny to do that.
And we talked, because this is what's come up, and I said, I actually went back to school. What I did, I went back to school, so I have the experience with the youth and saw some of the challenges they face. Having car insurance and having a car
it's
is not an automatic anymore.
That's right.
It's a luxury for a lot of youth.
My son's included.
They need that transit, and that's to maybe get to work for sure. But sometimes now how they're spreading out the schools, like St. Clair College main campus, St. Clair College having an identity downtown. They have to get back and forth on an affordable, timely basis.
Right.
So, and even from the county and then back home.
And transit's a huge part of that. And I think, if I'm lucky enough to be reelected, and I say reelected, that's something that I would strive for, is improving transit even more than, an electric bus. I think what we need to do is we need to get those regional partners together, and we need to find a funding formula that gets them to the table. Instead of saying, it's going to cost you $3 to $5 million to have bus service in your community, we need to say, we are the best at providing transit regionally. Here's how we're going to do it, and let's find a fair value for taking residents from Windsor to work in Oldcastle or to work on the farms. And let's partner and truly work together on that system. That's the piece that's been missing for a long time. And it's been very difficult to break through that city-county, what's mine is mine and what's yours is yours mentality. And that's something I'd like to pick right back up and bring. Is say, listen, You work very well together on the Windsor Essex drug strategy, which I formed and am very proud of.
Okay.
I went to county council. They even wanted to give us money when we weren't even asking for it. I'd love to be able to take transit there and say, look at what we can do for our community. We can grow amazing together. Let's put our differences aside and let's develop a true regional transportation system that's fair to everyone.
We talk about everything as being Windsor Essex. We truly need to be that total community.
Absolutely. And
That's all
what I
can
like
say.
about Windsor Essex, it sounds corny, but put those two initials
We.
together, it's we.
Yes, and a lot of institutions are going to say,
Yeah.
like even why not we? Everybody is playing
right.
off that.
That's right.
And we should also be doing it
We
as a
should be
larger
embracing
community.
it,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, and that's something that I would love to work on once reelected. See, I had 7 years to learn the ropes. Now
Okay.
I'd like to come back and actually continue where I left off.
Windsor, Detroit is the largest and busiest border crossing in North America.
Yep.
Today is the anniversary, unfortunately, of
Yeah.
9/11.
9/11, we say 9/11.
I know, 9/11. So I think that we should actually take just one moment of silence and remember all the families and all the people who've lost their lives.
Sure.
And hope for peace in this world and all the wars around
Absolutely.
the world. Now, said that, a lot of people are apprehensive about crossing a border, especially today, with everything that's been going on with terrorists.
Yeah.
Now, you had actually enlightened me that we have some great tactics.
We do, actually. What a lot of people don't realize is Windsor Essex actually has an amazing emergency response committee. And we've developed, as a municipality, some emergency plans. So if there's any major catastrophes, such as, God forbid, an attack on one of the crossings, the tunnel or the bridge, there is actually plans in place to take care of the community and have an immediate response. I don't want anyone in Windsor to ever feel like their emergency services are not there for them. They're actually there for them in a big, big way. They have plans to deal with everything from a catastrophe like that to maybe a chemical plant that has an accident. You know, I think we're a very safe community. People just have to believe in us again. You know, and they have to understand that there are very hardworking men and women at the police, at the fire department, at your EMTs that do come together for the betterment of your community frequently, and they develop these plans to make sure that we stay safe. And we're a very safe community. I wouldn't want to live anywhere else. I'm born and raised Windsor, Ontario.
It is. We have got a great waterfront,
We
trails
do.
all over the place. But downtown, like Mike was saying, really needs to be reinvented. So we need to bring back in some industry. We have to come to terms
Yeah.
with the car industry. It's no longer
Absolutely.
viable.
Cars and bars need to get rethought out.
That's
And we
right.
need to think about a different way of it. Why don't we have healthy food? Why don't we have fitness locations? Why are our youth centers getting closed but our cash stores are getting open? Why do we need more debt instead of more life? Why do we
Yeah.
need less unity and more separation from that? It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And for the young entrepreneurs that are, a lot of us are fortunate enough to know Caroline, and people like myself and Dustin Hagee with Green Gems and these young companies, Divine Personnel, all these young-owned companies, we are not looked at by the people over 40 plus in Windsor. All these people who made their millions on cars and bars, they are not even giving us a second of their time. We can't get an investment, we can't get a purchase order, we can't get anything from them because they stifle us out. So when we're talking about growing a Windsor economy, we're not even being allowed to grow as young entrepreneurs. Why? Because our current city councilors don't link us with funding. The funding that is allocated is never actually given out. The grants that exist are not even the grants are not only
Very
not given
difficult.
out, they're not even made aware of. We don't even know the
That's the key.
No, a lot of
process.
people don't. Like,
That's
you're
the
even
key.
saying being an advocate
don't
for the
know.
people to have
Yes.
a voice, because
Don't even know.
if you don't
Yes.
stand for something, you fall for everything.
Absolutely, and that's part of my entire being, not just a city councillor, but as a person. I seek out grant opportunities for our BIA,
And then they're forced to use.
Yeah, if it doesn't fit our BIA, I might call Justice and say, hey, here's this pot of money, let me connect you with somebody who writes these grants to even tell you if you have a shot at it.
Yes, for sure.
There should never be a
Yeah.
missed opportunity within our city.
Never.
Never. There should never be an
Never.
outsourced opportunity when there's people looking for it in town. There shouldn't be construction going to London when there's construction workers off work here.
That's
There's
right.
a whole lot of things that just
That's
don't
right.
make sense, and it makes you question the legitimacy of the people within the current council to say, are you there for the correct reason? So it's very exciting to have a whole shakeup of city council, regardless who gets in. Hopefully old people get out and new ideas get in, because our war is not with people. I could care less who is technically on council, as long as the ideas that are best suited for our city are most well represented. That's really the
For
point
sure.
of it. If it's not that, then what is the point? Are people looking for jobs now? Is that the point of city council? I thought it was really to make these connections. And I'll tell you that just training
Creating
small
opportunities.
business, without Caroline Postma, I wouldn't have been in the multiple events now that I've been able to go into. Downtown Garage Sale I've been able to go in. The Canada Day Parade, I was the first fitness person I think ever in the Canada Day Parade.
Yeah.
And that was because she made the
Yeah.
call. She didn't just say, give me the idea. She said, you know what? Not only will I give you the idea, I will make the call to make sure this idea becomes a reality, and the reality is your business will succeed.
And it
That is
empowers
an
you.
advocate.
And it
Absolutely.
makes you go further and think, I've attained this, I can
Yeah.
attain more.
And
Right?
I'm the kind of person that looks at any project, whether it's just training, joint ventures, I look at it as almost something that I want to nurture
Sure, and then
and
you
watch
help other people.
grow. And I bring people frequently to boot camp because I really believe in it. I lost 20 pounds in 7 weeks
Oh,
on
very good.
Justice's
Wow.
program. And I'm anemic. And I have trouble breathing when I do cardio. To not only can I run a lap around the Stag building, but I can do 1.5 without losing my breath now. I'm up to 3 laps in a gym without losing my breath. And to me, that's huge. So I see this young man as someone who's going to make me healthy. And if he can make me healthy, then he can work wonders in our city, is
sure.
how I look at it.
And yet, do you know how hard it is for me to get the opportunity to speak in front of the right people or to
Yeah.
train the people who desperately need my help? It takes a Caroline to call the Windsor Youth Center and say, listen, I know that you respect me. Hi, I'm Caroline Postma. I know you don't know this young man Justice, but he's really who you need for your program. So if you
Yeah.
could just meet with him, if you could do me the favor to me, to her, she's giving me a handshake into this organization. And that's what I'm saying as a young entrepreneur we all desperately need. I could bring up 10 of my friends' name right now that probably have 10 of the fastest growing young businesses in the city that I'm all directly linked with my company. And each one of us is always looking for the next handshake. And we never get the phone call for that handshake, but Caroline does. That's a difference that I seriously know a lot of
That's
people
what I
listening,
kind of
she doesn't.
I kind of think that what I've been following for the last couple of years, specifically with the convergence report, whether or not it's council, whether or not it's even the BIAs, and I was tracking it, and we need a council or councilors, okay, that are going to build those bridges, develop those
Absolutely.
links, because I found it was between the wards and between the BIAs, it was becoming like fiefdoms.
The ego
It
fest.
is,
Okay,
and
and
we
it
all
was
want a
a
piece of the
separate-
pie.
Yep,
And
and
as
it-
an executive director for
Not a
the
community.
BIA, my board tells me, Caroline, you're doing great work, but you got to go get us our funding. And that's unfortunately
That's
the way
meant up.
that we have been raised.
Yes.
As BIAs, and I come into this election with that knowledge as well, and the direct experience of running a business improvement association and understanding some of the roadblocks that we've faced. So my whole thing is, we're all in it to make some money and create some opportunities, and to, in the end, create some jobs.
Yes, absolutely.
And
yes.
we all
That's
need to
what's
work
needed, I
together
think.
at it. And
Yes.
if we can link different people, especially people who are looking for someone to invest in, and I know some of those people, if I can, link one of those people to Justice, to someone like Green Gems Energy, and some of the other, smaller companies, That would be
Knox
great.
Digital Media, absolutely,
Well,
yeah.
and the
If this
accelerator,
was-
accelerator,
yes, accelerator itself.
trying
The
to.
accelerator is huge in the community, by the way. I was around when it was opened. Actually, I was on the DWBIA, and I would actually like to see this program emulated in the Glengarry neighborhood under a social enterprise umbrella. And what I mean by that is actually taking your model, bringing it into that neighborhood and introducing something called microcredits, which I'm very excited about.
Okay, yeah.
Because then you can take a look at government grant opportunities to feed into a social enterprise and give someone who's maybe on a fixed income an opportunity to borrow up to $1,500 to hone a craft idea, for example. Maybe someone is really great at doll making.
Oh my gosh, with American Doll.
Yes.
Those clothes are so
Exactly.
expensive, and if you have a knack for that, selling those clothes, if
Exactly.
you can sell
You know?
someone at a craft show
And-
an outfit for $5 as opposed to $25.
But it's
That's
not
the
easy
links.
to do that.
That's the links we're talking about. because
Exactly.
I, from personal experience, it was the C program. The biggest example of trying to help people build
Grow
from
and build.
build up
Absolutely.
from losing their jobs, right?
And
if you don't
A
have
beautiful
anything, how do
program,
you
and
get
then
anything?
nobody knew about the accelerator.
That's
Nobody knew
right.
about the link
That's
to
right.
saying, oh, here you can start your business up. You have a beautiful
That's
idea.
right.
Oh, you need a place. Then that
Let me
kind of
help
that little
you.
part of it was never
Yeah.
linked together for those
Exactly.
individuals.
There is two sides of that, though, because she talks about funding, but there also is, once you get that funding, let's say I now have $5,000, and I've seen a lot of small companies that I've had to go in and fix the problem now. Where did they spend their money on print? Did they spend it in town? Was it somebody that cared about their business? How did they get their social media done? Who overcharged them $3,000 for their website? Joint
That's
Ventures
huge.
Unlimited came in,
Yes,
and I decided, okay, hold on. What if I made a guild of small businesses that each was trying to grow? And imagine we tried to opportunity pass, like we're suggesting. If it's not good for Green Gems, maybe Joint Ventures can take care of it. Maybe Divine Personnel has a person to hire. And we just link it around the table. So now people can come to me, and what I've created is a social enterprise. You can
Yes.
come and I can build you a business that is linked to the community, that is linked to counselors, that is linked. Now, you don't have any of that network. You don't have a guy for your cards. You don't have a website, all this stuff. But if we can do that for a tenth of the price, get you 10 times the exposure by doing something quickly with you, Mike and Betty, we can do something quickly. They get exposure, it happens, and the business grows, right? This is actual applicable business. This is not just a college affair anymore.
Very true.
Absolutely. And people just need somewhere to start.
They need
right?
to link.
Exactly. Okay, so if you do want to get training with Justice and Caroline, of course, you can go to this Sandwich Teen Action Group, and that's at 3757 King Street West. And Justice actually is training all over the city. He has actually hired, I think, 11 or 12 trainers. So wherever you are,
Anywhere in the city, anywhere
in the
boot camp,
city, you can actually get a group of your friends together and do training sessions a week, or you could do one-on-one training, whatever works for you. It could be in a park, it could be in someone's basement.
And it's not intimidating.
Exactly. Also, don't forget to like our shows, Jock Talk with Brett Hedges, The Convergence Report with Mike Thomas, Beyond Incredible with Ashley Nicole. And we want you to make sure that you're aware of the Writing Across Boundaries. It's the book fest. So that gives you great opportunities, and we're really fortunate that Windsor has a fest like this.
Yes.
We've missed our early bird fee, but you can still sign up for it, and that's going to be at St. Clair College, November 13th to the 16th. And I think the arts, especially for downtown, we don't have a lot of funding for the arts. But that would be great if we could all get together and do some stuff. We're also doing live streams for weddings and for any event that you'd like to have. So you can contact us at weddings.xeayz.tv. And we can give you a quote for that. Caroline, when people want to vote for Ward 3,
What do they do?
What do they do? And where are the voting areas? Because some people just don't know that, or they don't even know how to find
Yeah,
them.
the ward is divided into polls. So your best bet is to actually give 311 a call and say, I live at 841 Bruce Avenue, where do I go vote? You have to make sure you're on the voters list.
And that's a lot of people aren't
a
even
lot of
aware.
people aren't even
No.
aware of that. And actually, on October, I believe it's 10th and 11th, you can go to Devonshire Mall. And you can take an oath. You ask for the violet paper
Oh, I didn't even know that, did you?
And
No.
you can go with a health card even, and some form of ID, and something that has your address on it, a piece of mail, for example, a Union gas bill, Enwin bill, even a rent receipt. And you can go down there and you can get put on the voters list, and you just take an oath down there at the customer service booth. So October, I believe it's 11th, they could even be running it on the 10th. Then you can get put on the list and you can even vote that day.
Wow, that's terrific.
part two.
And a lot of people don't have, we talked about this before, a lot of people don't have passports.
That's true. A lot of people don't have passports. And a lot of people don't realize as well, you can cross the border with the enhanced driver's license.
Yes.
And that's half the price of a passport.
That's right, because a lot of people won't even cross the border
Yeah.
thinking, I don't have a passport, we're not going to
Yeah.
go. So that was just enticing.
Absolutely.
So if people want to get in touch with you, they can directly go to your website. They can
Yes.
email you. So it's www.carolinepostma.com.
.com,
on the
yes.
screen.com.
Yes.
And we can email you at caroline.postma@hotmail.com.
Yes. And you can always give me a call, 519-971-0623. I'm the only postman in the phone book on Bruce.
Okay.
That's easy to find.
Okay, very good.
Are you ever afraid of posting your address?
No, not at all. You
People
know, I
knocking at
have
the door.
so many incredible stories of being on council and the amazing, colorful people that have shown up at my door. You know, from a woman in a hijab looking for housing, who actually sat on my porch and waited for me for about 3 hours to come home.
Okay.
That's trust and intimacy.
It is, and to people just knocking on the door and saying, I didn't get my bus pass this month, or hey, I heard you helped so-and-so out with ODSP. Can you help me out?
And that's difficult
So
too.
it is.
And there's so many changes
Yeah.
in those governing issues, like with ODSP
Yes,
and dental, and a lot
absolutely.
of places are not accepting ODSP,
That's right.
which is pretty
That's
terrible,
right.
and it's also embarrassing.
That's
people.
right. And I've even had people who've shown up and they said, well, you know, Caroline, I didn't like how you voted on this issue. So I'd come outside with my coffee and say, okay, let's discuss it. What didn't you like? Here's why I voted this way. And let's talk about it like two adults instead of you hiding behind a computer and writing nasty messages. Because I find the internet is a wonderful thing on one hand. On the other hand, it's very easy to unconstructively criticize people, you know, and I like the face-to-face.
Yes.
If you don't like something I've said or something I've done, let's meet face-to-face and let's discuss it like adults, because that's how you get things done.
And that's right.
And I've said
way
that. I've
there's
said that
no-
on the convergence report when I was kind of covering who was running so far, and I would tell them that exactly. And I would tell them, I said, be real questions,
Yeah.
okay, and you'll get real answers.
Exactly.
If you're fair about it, okay, like not crap. Do it the
Exactly.
right. They're there to answer your questions. That's why they're running.
Exactly.
So don't forget to vote, and if you want somebody who is actually going to do something for Ward 3, please vote for Caroline Postma.
Thank you.
You can ask her any kind of questions that you want.
Absolutely.
And she's developed a very comfortable zone, and she's progressive, she's doing things. And don't forget to go to training with Justice Fournier at Just Training, and don't forget to watch Mike Thomas, the Convergence Report. Have a great holiday weekend, and don't forget, and see you next week. As I say, don't forget.